Yep, that's less than ideal right there. Okay guys, half click up here, diving right in. 2009 Yamaha FZ6R, 67,000 miles, original throttle cables. What we have is a known fraying of a throttle cable. She's right behind here. First thing you got to do, of course, is get her naked. Get her clothes off so you can get to her. All her bits. Remove that interior panel and that interior panel so we can get to all the things. So one thing's for certain is that used parts on eBay are pretty much always going to be in more mint condition than the factory stuff, simply because this bike is so high mileage. So a parts bike down in Houston on eBay, a set of practically mint throttle cables from a low mileage bike, 20 bucks. It's only one of them that's frayed, but heck, for 20 bucks we might as well upgrade, or not upgrade, but update to newer parts. So that's what we're up to today. Now my plan to streamline this process is to remove the old cables, lay them out next to the new cables, and I'm going to try and mimic all of the adjustment positions to what my setup currently is. And that should kind of simplify the process of throttle cable free play and all that mess, trying to minimize that headache. We also picked up a Motion Pro cable luber. Never owned one of these before. It's probably why I'm in the predicament I'm in, because I well, I've never lubed my throttle cables before, so there you go. It was a package deal. Came with some Motion Pro cable lube as well. Okay, so our known failure point is the cable end at the butterfly spring mechanism on the throttle body assembly. Now I have some frame slider bracketry here that you may not have. However, I do believe you are still going to be dealing with 12mm bolts. There's 2 here and there's 2 up here underneath this trim. The trim is 5mm. Right, so there are the nut adjustments that we are going to try and replicate on the workbench. In my experience previously, having removed this throttle body assembly several times with valve adjustments and valve seal changes, this, that, and the other over the years, my experience is easier just to remove the plate altogether with these little Phillips held together with these Phillips screws. You just basically create yourself a bunch of slack by doing it this way. Now you see, just like any other cable mechanism, you got the little spacers here on the ends that will pop out. So you just have to apply slack to it to wiggle them out. And there's one. See how that one's a little warped with age? Look at that. Yep, that's less than ideal right there. Now since this plate is loose, you can actually just pull the whole thing out like this so you can manipulate it. It's a lot easier. It's a 10mm to loosen this nut here, and this adjuster nut here, which will allow us to slide out of the bracket. There. They both need to be turned just enough to where she'll pop out of there. And that's roughly, you know, bring it a little bit closer, that's roughly where our adjustment point factory was set. Moving on this guy. Get that out of the way there. There you go, man. All right, so we'll take a look at what all is involved in fishing these guys out of there as least destructive as possible. Right, so looking at the routing, they come up here, they come into this little plastic bracket here, up underneath the power commander, and there is a zip tie in there, factory zip tie. See that guy? Right there. So I guess we'll have to cut him. And there they are, two of them right there. They come up. And this is him right here. Right, so it doesn't actually go through framework or anything like that, which, you know, makes it as simple as it possibly can be, I guess. You got this metal bracket here that's connected to the top of the triple tree, and they slide through there up to the actual throttle mechanism here. Alright, so at the throttle tube and this switch assembly, there's a plate on the bottom. Now it's real cloudy right now and the lighting sucks, so I've got this little light to show you. Come up underneath here and you'll see that there are two Phillips head screws. You remove those and it'll drop this cap down, revealing the other end of the throttle cables. You also have to remove a third screw, and you can see it just barely right there, where I'm wiggling my finger. It's a recessed screw. So the two Phillips heads you can actually see drops this cap, and that third guy is what allows for the top of the switch assembly to come off so that you can get to the cables. Now, since we have a Woodcraft clip-on kit installed, we have a little bit tighter tolerance here than factory as far as clearance goes. So screwdrivers are kind of hard to get in here. We get around that with a Phillips head socket assembly for our socket wrench here. Allows us to get in there a little tighter. So the one closest to the fuel tank is a long guy. And the one farthest from the fuel tank is a short guy. There. Now once you remove these two that are kind of exteriorly visible, that will drop this cap, and the cable ends are visible underneath here now, so don't lose that. And so now we get the recessed screw that is hard to see. And this is a long one as well, just like the one that is closest to the tank. Now, our top switch assembly will come off, revealing the throttle cable setup right here. Here to give you a closer look. This is just like when you're first installing your clip-ons, you know, like when you have to transfer the switch assemblies from the factory bar over to the clip-on bars. So you may have already been inside here before. There's a set of wires that attach to the kill switch. You want to make sure you don't pull on those too tightly. But here and here, see these two guys? Does that look familiar? They are just like these two guys here. It's just the other ends of the cables, right? So we're going to manipulate these to get them out of there. And underneath here, There you can see the two ends of the cables as they run up to the top of the throttle tube. So we're gonna pull all this out. All right, so I'm just gonna use a little bitty screwdriver. Any kind of a point, any pick type device is gonna work for you. Just to poke these guys out of here. Like so. Kind of grab this other cable and lift up. Get you some slack there. Push it out. There we go. Now we can fish our two cables off the machine and swap our new ones on. All right, now hopefully I can do this all one-handed so that you guys can see precisely what I'm doing. Just gonna pull this guy. See it? Pull it straight out of there. Look at that. See that? That's broken. That's broken. Didn't know that. Good thing we're swapping out both of them, man. Golly. Okay. And now this guy. This guy. Snatch him out of there. Alright, now both cables are free. So is the switch assembly for that matter, so hopefully that'll just kind of hold itself up there. You see the wiring for the kill switch is still going to be held in place, so that should hold this assembly from falling down into the great unknown. Alright, so what we know, we covered this earlier, these two cables are routed through this metal bracket here, down through a little zip tie guy. It's this guy right here. So I think we're going to end up snipping that guy and just replacing it with a hobo freight zip tie. That'll be alright. It's a shame to lose those factory Yamaha zips though, right? It's been on there for all this time, man. And so then they run underneath the power commander straight to the throttle body assembly. So we just got to fish them out of there. Yeah, we'll snip that zip tie here straight away. Now, really and truly, this setup is probably fairly identical for most motorcycles, right? The way it's all just routed out and around. Just gonna shove this guy through here. It's very tight. Of course, that's broken. We'll have to be careful when we manipulate our replacement. All right, like this guy, shove him through the bracket, and we are halfway there. Okay. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is attempt to not snip or remove anything, man. See, we're gonna fish this guy all the way out. Can we do it? Oh, watch your power, Commander. Yep. Look. Uh-huh. Oh, you know what? That one is too tight. Yep. Oh, man. Yeah, it's... Oops, don't lose that. Bye-bye, Yamaha zip tie. Bye-bye. Of course, it's a lot easier to get out of there now, ain't it? All right, let's go to the workbench, figure out what we're working with. Here's the issue we set out to address in the first place, is this fraying at the end of this guy. Not cool. right? So that was the known issue. This cable is actually okay. We could have left this one in place, looks like, because it's the same cable that is actually broken on this end, up at the throttle control. So just snapped right off, man. So here's our new set with obviously a fraction of the miles of my set. Yeah, these are mint, dude. These are clean. Real clean. Factory with the frayed line. And new. Alright, roughly like that. Alright. Factory. New. See, the new one's a little bit off there. I'm gonna bring this guy in about here. Eliminate some of that guesswork. Alright, so now we're gonna deploy our Motion Pro cable lube tool. Just kinda stick her in there. And we expect a huge mess. Part of the reason for that is that it's not a this cable type is not a straight shot. Like, this end is too fat to get in the tool, and this end has a curve to it. So all we can do is try and seal off where it's open. And unfortunately, it would appear as though it won't find its way all the way down. What I mean is, you want it to run out the end. This cable design doesn't allow for that. So we're going to manually matter of fact, squirt our lube down in there. I don't know if we've technically found a limitation to the design here. So there's a version 2 and a version 3. This is the original, I believe. Maybe the version 3 addresses things like this, I don't know. Alright, so starting with this guy. This is the end right here that goes on the side of the engine down below. So we'll start by fishing this guy down and through. We'll catch it on the zip tie in there, our replacement zip tie, here in a minute. I'm going to give myself enough slack up top, come around here. Because I've got to bring it through this bracket without breaking it, right? We don't want to break it like that other one was broken. So ever so gently. Up and through. And it's this guy, this end will stay on the engine. This end goes up. like so. Alright, so we've got them both routed and up here. Now to get them inside the throttle assembly. Get that cable going up through there. And the other one, it's all about just manipulating and routing them, you know? So we know this one goes here. You know, this one has to go on the other channel there. Give you some cable slack. Push that puppy on through. Kind of seat it in place a little bit. There. Hopefully you can see that all right. Both cables are routed. So these little plastic brackets, they only go in there one way. And once you have them pressed up and flush, you know they're good to go. All right, so we can hold all of this in place with our cap. Go ahead and start our shorty. Right here. That'll just kind of secure that once and for all so we can start working on the other stuff. Get it up there. Alright. Now, at the same time that I was fishing the interior cables up through the top, I was also relocating them back into their little brackets here. The throttle tube bracket. This one wants to turn a little bit because there's no tension on it yet, but they're both seated home. Now we gotta go to the engine end and secure those. Alright, so down here at the engine, we've got to get the cables reinstalled onto this bracket, just like they were factory. Kind of cinch that guy down like that. Cinch this guy down like that. Scooch the whole thing back. We'll make our final adjustments here in a minute. We want to start by getting this cable in here. Like so. Hope you can see what I'm doing. This guy voila. Go ahead and get your bracket assembly reattached. Just kind of loosely for now until we can figure out our ultimate adjustment on our cables. I'll draw that in. Now we know where everything just needs to be set, so to speak. Alright, so with our cable secured to the engine, we can go ahead and reassemble this guy here. Go with the long guy closest to the tank. There you go. Good snapback. That's what you're looking for. That's a success, boys and girls. Finished cinching all this stuff down. This is the other long guy that goes in the recessed hole. Perfect. Right. So coming back around to our adjustment assembly, our 10mm. Just kind of make sure this stuff is all good and snug. That's good to go. This guy, is now good to go as well. Nice and snug, nice and tucked, right? Both adjustment nuts are tucked nicely inside the bracket on both accounts. Go double check our throttle. Nice crisp snap is what we want. Nope, no good. No good. Here he comes. Watch. See it turning loose? So this guy will keep tight. This guy will loosen up. There we go. That's where you want to be. So by adjusting the bottom here, loosening it up, I was able to reactivate the crisp snap. So what I did is I just went as tight as I could, which destroyed our throttle snapback. Came back to it, loosened it back up until, so I opened the throttle and let go to where it was stuck, as you guys saw. And then I just backed off this set screw here, this adjustment screw, until it started to open back up. Went a little bit more until it finished opening back up, and then good to go. Now we have our crisp snap again. Throttle is adjusted. All right, another thing we want to do is ensure that we can rotate the handlebar back and forth without pulling too much tension. So let's try. Alright, so turned all the way to the left, our throttle's stuck. So I'm going to adjust up here. The piece that was broken on the last cable, I'm going to adjust until, matter of fact, let me bring the camera around. I'm going to adjust that thing until the throttle snaps open again, just like we did at the engine mounting point. Alright, so watch it move. There it is. See, it's too much. I'm gonna turn that thing, and it opened up. So that's where we want to be. So now, see if I can get the angle. So this guy, see it there. See how this guy spins freely? This big guy is the adjustment. This is the set screw. So I'm going to set it by screwing it tight against the adjuster, like so. It's just a set screw. There, good to go. So now let's set back up. All right, now remember, we want a snap, come back straight, snap, turn far to the right, snap. You can hear it. I don't know if you can see my hand. Yep, see? That's it, guys. She's done. Throttle cable's installed. Now let's get those two zip tied down there. There we go. Done. Well, look, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that entire process was clear enough for you guys. I hope I was explanatory enough, so to speak, because it was not a lot of good viewing angles. You know what I mean? Like, I try and always get the footage oriented to where it's beneficial to you guys, so you can see precisely what it is that I see and what I'm doing to make these fixes and install these various parts and stuff throughout this tutorial series. But anyways, guys, if you have any questions, as always, obviously, drop them in the comments down below. I will try and help you to the best of my ability, as always. And if you enjoy the content, of course, smash the like button, share the video, guys. If you haven't seen anybody else, right, it's not just specific to the FZ6R. That basic setup there with throttle cables is generally speaking, for all motorcycles. So if you don't mind, please share the video so other motorcycle riders, not just Fizzer fam, but other riders can see how you swap out throttle cables. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now. As always, boys and girls, this is Half Click Up. That's been you, this has been me. I'm out of here. Peace and goodbye.